Welcome to another episode of the Expert Digital AI podcast, where we deep dive into artificial intelligence, generative AI, and digital transformation.
All right, let's dive into this. Navigating the Ethical Landscape of AI, a guide for businesses
Okay.
by Rick Spair.
Yeah.
It's from October 7th, 2024.
Oh, wow.
Very recent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really gets into this thing that I think we've all been kind of wondering about with AI, which is how do we make sure it's actually used responsibly?
Yeah. It's a hot topic.
Yeah. And this article is not shying away from it.
Not at all, no.
Like one of the things that jumped out at me right away was this idea that AI can actually inherit our own biases.
Right.
Like it's almost like, AI is this really smart student, right?
Yeah.
But if all it's learning from is biased data, it's going to graduate with some seriously messed up ideas about the world.
What's so interesting about that is that it really throws a wrench in this idea of AI being purely objective.
Right.
We have this conception that algorithms are neutral, but they're built on human data, and we are anything but neutral.
Totally. And the article gives this example of hiring algorithms.
Right.
Like imagine an AI that's being trained on data from, let's say, a company that's always had mostly male engineers.
Right.
What's that AI going to think a typical engineer is supposed to look like?
Exactly, yeah. And it's not just gender either, right? It can be any sort of ingrained bias.
Right.
Race, socioeconomic background,
Sure.
even where somebody went to school. All of that stuff, if it's reflected in the data, the AI can pick up on it and potentially even amplify it.
It's almost insidious how it can happen, right?
So,
you set out to build this efficient system,
yeah.
and suddenly you might have accidentally coded in all these prejudices.
Yeah, and that's why I think this article is so important. It's like a wake-up call to businesses to say, hey, you need to be thinking about this now.
Right.
It's not enough to just collect a ton of data and then set the AI loose.
Right.
You have to be really deliberate about what data you're using.
Right.
And how that data might reflect our own kind of messy human history.
So it's not just about having a lot of data. It's about having the right data.
Exactly.
Which sort of brings us to, I think, another huge concern that the article highlights, which is privacy.
Yeah.
AI has this insatiable appetite for information.
For sure.
But how much is too much?
Right.
It's like AI needs to eat data to learn.
Yeah.
But are we overfeeding it our personal information in the process?
Yeah. And are we even aware of what we're feeding it?
Right.
The article talks about informed consent, but let's be real, how many of us actually read those privacy policies?
Right, exactly.
We just click agree without a second thought, and then we're surprised when we get targeted ads for socks following us around the internet.
Okay, that's a little creepy, but also socks.
I know.
But it does, it highlights this bigger question of control.
Yeah.
Who is really in control of our data in this brave new world of AI, right?
Totally. And that's where these regulations come in.
Right.
The article mentions GDPR in Europe and then CCPA here in the US,
right,
which are these attempts to kind of set some ground rules around data collection and use. Basically saying, look, you can't just hoover up everybody's data without their knowledge or consent.
So it's like the Wild West out there, and we're trying to establish some law and order before it gets way out of hand.
Exactly.
But speaking of potentially getting out of hand, let's talk about everyone's favorite AI anxiety.
Kerr?
Robots taking our jobs.
Oh, right. Yes. The elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the article actually takes a pretty balanced view on this, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
It acknowledges that, yes, AI is going to automate certain tasks.
Right.
Potentially leading to job displacement.
Right.
Especially in fields where there's a lot of repetitive work.
Which is kind of scary to think about.
Sure.
But the article doesn't just leave it there.
Not at all, no.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the need for adaptability and lifelong learning.
Right.
Which, honestly, are good pieces of advice even without the looming threat of AI.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
The ground rules of the game are changing.
Yeah.
So we all need to be agile and ready to adapt, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's almost instead of fearing the robots, we should be figuring out how to team up with them.
Totally.
Which I think is kind of cool.
The article gives this really interesting example of retraining programs for manufacturing workers.
Okay.
Like as automation becomes more common on like factory floors, companies are investing in training those workers for new roles.
Oh, that's interesting.
And like AI maintenance or programming.
Wow. So it's like instead of fearing the robots they're learning to,
Exactly.
work alongside them.
Yeah, it really highlights how crucial it is to like adapt and develop skills that complement AI rather than trying to compete with it.
Right. Which makes a lot of sense. But then like that brings up this question for me, which is like if we're talking about AI being used in hiring, making these decisions that could really affect people's livelihoods, what's stopping someone from like rigging the system in their favor?
Oh, okay.
You know?
That's a great question. And it touches on this whole other kind of like legal tightrope that we're walking with AI,
Okay.
which the article gets into as well. Because, I mean, these technologies are evolving so rapidly
Right.
that the laws and regulations are kind of scrambling to catch up.
So it's still like the Wild West out there, legally speaking.
In a way, yeah. Like the article mentions how regulations can vary dramatically depending on like where you are in the world and what industry you're in.
Oh, I bet.
So
It seems like a logistical nightmare for businesses to have to like keep track of.
Oh, totally. It's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
Especially for smaller companies that might not have the resources for a whole legal team or something like that.
Right.
But the article does stress that even without like this mountain of legal jargon, there are some basic principles that companies should be following.
Okay. So like what are those?
Transparency is a huge one.
Okay.
Like the article really emphasizes that businesses need to be upfront about how they're using AI, what data they're collecting, and how that data is being used to make decisions.
So no more hiding behind like these vague terms and conditions that nobody reads.
Exactly. It's about building trust with users by being open and accountable.
Sure.
Like if a company is using AI in a way that genuinely benefits people, they should be willing to explain how it works.
Right. It's like the more transparent they are, the less we have to just kind of wonder and worry about what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. And that ties directly into another point that the article makes, which is this idea of like explainable AI.
Okay.
So it's not enough to just say like, well, the algorithm decided this.
Right.
People deserve to understand the reasoning behind those decisions,
Right.
especially when it impacts their lives in a significant way.
Yeah, that makes sense. But how do you actually make AI like explainable?
Yeah.
It seems like such a black box. You know what I mean?
Totally. And it is a huge area of research right now. But the article does highlight some promising approaches.
Okay.
One is to actually use like simpler AI models that are inherently more interpretable,
Okay.
even if they might not be as powerful as their like more complex counterparts.
So it's like trading a little bit of AI brain power for
In some cases, yeah.
transparency and explainability.
Exactly. And another approach is to develop tools that can actually analyze the decision-making process of these more complex AI models and kind of translate it into something that humans can understand.
Oh, interesting.
Like create a translator for AI, so to speak.
So instead of just like getting a yes or no answer from the AI, you get to see how it arrived at that answer.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
And that level of transparency, I think, is just crucial for like building trust, ensuring accountability,
yeah.
and just making sure that AI is used responsibly.
It's like if you're going to hand over these important decisions to an AI,
Yeah.
you want to know it's not just like flipping a coin in there.
Right, exactly. And this ties back to what we were saying about regulations too, right?
Right.
Like the article kind of hints that as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we might see a push for regulations that specifically require explainability
Okay.
in certain high-stakes fields like healthcare or finance.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
No more the algorithm made me do it excuses.
potentially not.
Yeah.
It's about striking that balance between like innovation and responsibility.
Which honestly feels like the theme of this whole like deep dive that we're doing.
Totally.
It's like we're on the cusp of this incredibly like powerful technological revolution with AI.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure that we're also like building it on this foundation of like ethics and transparency.
100%. And that's where I think this concept of like corporate social responsibility comes in,
Okay.
which the article touches on as well. Like businesses can't just focus on the bottom line anymore.
Right.
They have a responsibility to really consider the broader societal impact of the AI that they're developing and using.
Totally. Yeah. Like it's not just about making a profit.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that we're using this technology in a way that benefits like everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
Almost
sure.
like we're at this point now where we get to sort of decide what we want our relationship with AI to look like?
Totally.
Not just as consumers, but like as a whole society, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this article really highlights that it's not just about avoiding the negative consequences.
Right.
It's about actually being proactive in shaping AI in a way that reflects like our values.
Which makes me wonder, are there any companies out there doing this well?
Yeah.
Like, are there any like gold standards when it comes to building and using AI responsibly?
Yeah, there are definitely some front runners. And while the article doesn't name like specific companies,
Right.
it does highlight some key practices that really set the leaders apart.
Okay, so what are those? Like, what should we be looking for if we're like trying to figure out if a company is, really truly committed to ethical AI?
Well, one thing that they all seem to have in common is that ethical considerations are like baked into every stage of their AI development process.
Okay.
So it's not like an afterthought or like a PR move after the fact.
Right.
It's really fundamental to how they operate.
So it's like they're not just trying to build AI that's like technically impressive, but they're also trying to build AI that's like aligned with kind of their values as a company.
Totally. And a big part of that is transparency.
Okay.
Like these companies are really open about how they're using AI, what data they're collecting, and how they're addressing potential bias.
So they're kind of like, look, we're not perfect.
Exactly.
But we are trying to get this right, and we want to be held accountable.
Exactly. They're walking the walk when it comes to diversity, too. Like their AI teams are actually made up of people from like a really wide range of backgrounds and perspectives, which helps make sure that the AI systems they build actually reflect like a broader worldview,
Yeah, because if everybody who's building the AI looks the same and thinks the same, that's going to be reflected in the technology itself.
100%.
Yeah.
And these companies are also like really engaged in that kind of public conversation about ethical AI. They're participating in these industry forums, they're funding research.
Sure.
Sometimes they're even like advocating for sensible regulation.
So it's like they're not just focused on their one little corner of the world.
Totally.
They're actually thinking about like the bigger picture and how to make sure that AI is a force for good for, everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. It gives me a lot of hope for the future.
Me too. This has been a really, I think, eye-opening deep dive. It's one thing to be like excited about all the cool things that AI can do.
Yeah.
But it's another thing entirely to really like grapple with those ethical implications.
Totally. And we all have a role to play in that.
We do.
In shaping this future of AI. It's not just up to the tech companies to figure it out.
Right.
It's up to all of us to demand that transparency, fairness, and that commitment to the greater good.
Exactly. Well said. And on that note, we're going to leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
As you encounter AI in your own life, whether it's like a chatbot on a website or a recommendation algorithm in your favorite streaming service, remember, you have a voice.
You do.
Ask those questions.
Yes.
Demand that transparency. And really let your values guide your interactions with this like really powerful technology.
Yeah.
Because the future of AI is not just about the code, right?
Right.
It's about the choices that we all make.
100%.
Awesome. Well, thanks for diving into this with me. It's been great.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you later.